Notion is a project management and note-taking software which has gained massive popularity for both school and work-related needs. In this video, I'll showcase how I tried Notion as my main planning and life organization tool for a week. Not gonna lie, I've been feeling a bit overwhelmed with my different goals and responsibilities, so hopefully this experiment will help me find more structure and clarity. If you're interested in seeing the different features and use cases of Notion, be sure to watch until the very end. Being the methodical person I am, I ended up planning out how I would use a planning app? Well played, John. I decided to brainstorm the different areas in my life I could utilize Notion for. Having to balance content creation, personal goals, and school, I thought of the following use cases for the app. First off, my main reason for using Notion was to help me with project management and goal setting. I have systems for doing these things in a different app called Obsidian, but I wanted to see if other apps could be more convenient to use. Second, I wanted to have a dashboard for each area in my life to contain all relevant links, information, and resources I might need quick access to. For example, my school Notion page would include course pages, assignment notes, study plans, and revision tables. Additionally, my videography Notion page would include video ideas, planners, and scripts. To gain inspiration, I watched DevDuck's Notion video to help see what features are available and how he uses them for his own project and life management. I learned that there are three main levels in Notion: blocks, pages, and databases. Blocks are the different sections in a page, and their content can range from headers to links. One thing I found fascinating was their customization possibilities, seeing as you could put them side by side, change the background color, and more. The next level up is pages, which help dictate the structure of your Notion workspace. I view them as customizable folders in which you can creatively store the information in blocks. Lastly, databases can be used to organize and visualize a group of pages. There are different views that range in layout and specificity, and this is the feature I'm most interested to play with and integrate into my workflows. So, now that I know what I want to achieve with Notion and have a basic understanding of its framework, I think it's time to tackle how I'll actually implement everything. I was able to make one important decision, which was to structure my workspace based on the Para model. If you're not familiar, the Para model is an information organization system that categorizes things into projects, areas, resources, and archives. I created a page for each category and used databases to establish the layout. The projects page uses the board view database as a Kanban board to keep track of my projects. The areas page uses the gallery view to create the dashboards for the different responsibilities in my life. The resources page is similar to the areas page, except it will only focus on my hobbies and other random interests. Lastly, the archives page is where I'll keep completed or inactive items from the other categories, such as finished projects, discarded notes, or previous workspace layouts. This is my first time having all these customization options in a program, so I decided to refrain from design-induced decision paralysis by simply choosing space-themed emojis and cyberpunk/outrun wallpapers as covers. I know it's not as fancy as some of the other Notion YouTubers' layouts, but hey, if it works, it works. I also started seeing how I could integrate other apps and decided to add a page to just see my tasks in Todoist, a task management app I often use. It took me long enough, but I found out about the full width feature you can use to set up a page so it makes the content take up the entire screen. Before, putting things side by side was a bit too crowded, so I'm happy I finally found out about this. First off, I set up a main hub to keep track of some of the main things I would frequently visit, like my school page, daily tasks, and weekly planner. Next up, it was time to populate the main notes for the different areas in my life, mainly content creation and university. Thankfully, I came across Dobo Chobo's Notion tour video that showcased her YouTube and school pages. Also showing things like a spending tracker, I realized that lots of things could be done on Notion as long as you were knowledgeable and creative enough. Anyways, I copied her templates as a reference and personalized it from there. In my school page, I added some quick lines to my school calendar and dashboard to easily see what's due. For my course pages, I created a template that included class-specific links, a retrospective timetable, and tables for assignment and study plan pages. If you're unfamiliar with what a retrospective timetable is, It's a studying tip I learned from productivity god Ali Abdaal to help keep track of your review sessions and overall comprehension of a topic. Essentially, you have a row for each of the concepts or units of a subject, and then you create entries to log your study sessions, which include the date and your evaluation on your comprehension. This helps provide a detailed visual on which units you may be weaker on that you might need to review more. In my own implementation, I decided to take things one step further and also create a table to store each review session, since I also like to highlight the specific errors I make in great detail. For my study plans, I also decided to create a template with checklists and prompts to make sure I don't forget anything and properly prepare for an exam. In my content creation page, I mainly kept the layout with the addition of my own template for each video planner page. I created a Kanban board for any specific tasks and a gallery view to separate the different writing steps like planning, outlining, and scripting. I noticed that instead of creating one long linear document with headers, I like to separate the parts of a note using gallery views, breaking sections up horizontally into components. Today is a Sunday, the time of the week where I reflect on the previous week and prepare for the next one. I usually do this in Obsidian, but I think it would be handy to keep all my planning in one place. I was super happy with the dynamic customization and was able to turn what was originally a huge wall of text into a more pleasing weekly review. Databases help a lot with organizing. Additionally, I use the properties fields to store different ratings, which helps me get a gist of how a week went when looking at it on the weekly reviews page. If you're curious about what I reflect upon in my weekly reviews, here's a quick glimpse of my different prompts. First off, I use the learning review from the book High Performance Habits to think about the key learnings and takeaways from the week. Next, I use the life review from the same book to gauge how well the week went in relation to the different areas in my life. Then, I focus on the specific things I want to be mindful of, like my focus and time management. Lastly, to help with preparing for the next week, I think of some of the issues I had and some potential solutions to try out. Speaking of the future, in the weekly review, I also created a page to store my plan for the next week, and in there, I used the board view to create a weekly planner I would refer to when creating my daily schedules. Furthermore, I can reference the view in my main hub page for a quick reference. Although I didn't add any new features to my workspace today, I began actually using it. First off, I created my first assignment in Notion. Unfortunately, I noticed severe lag when typing, and I'm not really sure what's causing it, as I have little tabs or programs running in the background. Thanks to the Markdown support of the app, I was able to easily include code snippets and divide the page using headers. Unlike a more linear note-taking app, I like how I can fill an empty space by moving notes to another column. Next, I created a study plan for an upcoming midterm, and the checklist and prompts I created from the template served quite well. One thing that kept bugging me was the lag when typing, and some searching online recommended to use an alternative desktop version of Notion called Notion Enhanced. It's a third-party program, but I was really desperate to make the working experience smooth once again. It may not have fixed the issue, but it opened up my mind to the possibilities of third-party plugins and features. For example, Notion Enhancer allows you to customize design with custom fonts, indentation lines, code line numbers, and themes. Furthermore, it provides additional features like tabs, weekly calendar views, collapsible properties, and focus mode. I've already went over a lot in relation to personal planning and management, but how does Notion fare in collaborative group settings? Today was the start of a hackathon hosted by my school, and I decided to put Notion to the test for group project management. After 6 days of using the app, I felt comfortable enough to quickly create a planner from scratch. I was able to use the different text and layout options to create different sections for each feature. For task management, I used checkboxes and board views to act as Kanban boards. Whenever I needed to further brainstorm details, I would create a subpage inside the main one. Although the platform worked well for me, the free plan only allows 1,000 pages max per user, and I was well over that from the other parts of my workspace. My group members could view the page, but not edit it, which was quite a bummer. I guess you can circumvent this by creating a new workspace under a new email, or just paying for the premium subscription. Aside from productivity and planning, I decided to see how I could use Notion for creative and visual note-taking. In the game Valorant, there are different maps you play on, and the way you play each map depends on what agent you're choosing, since each agent has its own unique set of abilities. Since I'm rather forgetful, I decided to create notes on the different strategies and setups for each agent on each map. I'm only using these notes for quick reference, so I created a Valorant page under the resources section of my workspace. Then, I created a gallery view to display the 7 different maps, and in each map, I created another gallery view with a default template for taking notes on any new agents. There are 2 phases of playing during each game, namely attacking and defending, so I put them into 2 separate columns and divided the content using headers and subpages. Most of the things I need to remember are lineups, which are best recalled through pictures, so I decided to once again use the gallery view to have a sneak peek at what the lineup looks like. The functionality and organization is there, but the design of the pages could definitely be improved. I wish I had started using Notion earlier, as I think it's a very powerful tool that can help solve various needs. Evident from the variety of example templates provided by them, you can pretty much use it for anything as long as you know how to utilize the fundamentals of the app. Hopefully, my personal use cases for the app can help you come up with your own. I really admire its intuitive user interface and experience, and I'm probably going to continue using it for my productivity and life management needs. After using the app for more than 7 days, here are some of the main pros and cons of the app. Aesthetic design and customizability. Using Notion feels as liberating as a blank canvas. You get to implement the layout that works best for you from a wide variety of blocks and database views, which can then be personally designed through your choice of icons, covers, images, and colors. Custom themes for the background and text colors would take things one step further though. Productivity and organization. The different tools available like checklists, Kanban boards, and pages can create some nifty systems for task and project management. Using these different tools, I was able to create some effective pages and templates to support me in my goals and productivity. The only caveat is how Notion requires an internet connection to use, so it might not always be available when you need it. Content ecosystem. Notion is one of the more popular productivity applications out there, so it was easy to search up and see examples of how other people were using it. Furthermore, they usually provide free resources and templates to help you start your own workspace, which saves a lot of time. Aside from the videos I mentioned already, I would recommend sites such as Icons 8 for designs and Notion templates for, Notion templates. Group work. If you're unlike me and are willing to pay the monthly subscription, Notion seems like a good medium for collaborative group work with its planning capabilities. The application is intuitive enough for others to quickly pick up. If you're a solo user though, you can still find value in the share feature, especially if you're a student that wants to easily share their assignments and notes with classmates. Now, onto the downsides, with the first one being lag and long-term use. I've constantly read about how notes can take a long time to load if you have a lot of stuff in your workspace. I'm already having issues with lag and delay when typing on empty pages, and who knows how worse it'll get as I continue to use the app. Distraction. Such freedom on your workspace customizability and design can distract you from the work you're supposed to be doing. Instead of planning your week, you might get sidetracked with finding out how to implement a Studio Ghibli aesthetic into your workspace. If you want some personal guidance on any practices or topics covered in my videos, feel free to leave a comment or book a one-on-one consulting session with me, link in the description. If you want to watch another video where I try a new app for 7 days, check out the one on the revolutionary note-taking app Obsidian MD. Alternatively, you can also choose this video the YouTube algorithm recommended you. Feel free to like and share the video to help spread the channel to other people who may find my content useful, and subscribe for more productivity-related content. This has been John Maverick. Stay mindful.